October 10th. And
2017.
yes, and I'm living here at Fort Washington Estates, and Jim and Nita are here visiting me. And we just went over and had lunch with Ken. Ken joined us for lunch, and that was very nice. And in the meantime, we went over to look at an apartment, or room, I guess, in the assisted living section, which is called Oak Ridge Terrace. And I stopped on the way back and told the nurse there that I would like to take that apartment. And it means that I will have 3 meals a day, and I'll have cleaning once a week, and my bed can be changed once or twice a week, they said. But I can also have dinner in the dining room if I prefer that, or I can even go to the cafe. And anytime I want to have guests, I can take them into the cafe with me. Do you have any questions, Jim?
Yeah, Mom, I wanted to particularly ask you about some of the treasures. We spoke earlier of that.
Oh.
And I want you to just explain, for example, the painting.
Okay, the painting up there, that's the painting that was sent to me by Aunt Becky a long time ago, probably 35 or 40 years ago. And it is a painting of the little village where I first taught school. I had just graduated from the University of New Mexico with a degree in science and home economics particularly. And I had gone to Las Cruces, New Mexico for a meeting, and then I had gone on down to El Paso, Texas to visit Uncle French. And then I came in on the train from this direction, the opposite direction from the way the train is pointed on the picture, and arrived about midnight, sometime in early September, for my very first job in this little town of Carrizozo, New Mexico. I got off the train at midnight, went into the little depot which is there, and got a room, scared to death. Didn't know a soul there, was really scared, but I stayed all night there. And the next morning, I got up and I went to 1 block over and went over to I think a drugstore or a little cafe, I don't know which it was, and asked about where the high school was. And they sent me down about 3 or 4 blocks away, and I met with the principal of the high school.
Let's see, when you first told me about it, you arrived late at night.
Yes, midnight.
And the only place to stay was somewhere in the depot?
And the little depot, it was like, they had rooms there for the railroad men who were, I think, dropping off on the way and stopping over, or maybe stopping over, I don't know which it was, but that's what the rooms are for, because it was, I think there was a little hotel, one little hotel in the town, but I didn't know where it was and didn't know how to find my way around either. So I went in there and stayed all night and got up the next morning, had breakfast in the little restaurant which was right next part of the depot there, and the next day walked over and went down to the school and met the principal of the school, Mr. Manier.
Anyway, you told me it's by an artist.
Peter Hurd, who is a New Mexico artist, and he probably is dead by now.
And I took a picture of it earlier, so
Okay.
I can spice that
He
in.
was a very famous New Mexico artist, and he had a lot of pictures of windmills and farms out in that direction, out in New Mexico, and they were always good to see. You asked me about the treasures. Just looking around the room, of course I have the pictures up here, and one of grandmother, and one of Joe and I when we were married, and our reception at our home in Albuquerque.
Tell me about the wedding day.
And we were married the day after Christmas in 1945 in the evening at the church, at the Methodist Church, which is about 15 blocks down towards downtown.
And you met in a Congo line?
I had met him in a conga line at the USO. I was a USO hostess during the Second World War. And one more thing I have to tell you though. Now, what was it? Oh, I know. I was married the day after Christmas, but I remember particularly, I've told my friends particularly, I went down to the church without even a coat because I didn't even have a shawl on my head. I had my white wedding gown and my carried my veil to put on my head later on, but not even a coat or anything because it was the day after Christmas, and it was that warm there. And then when we arrived in Pittsburgh on January, we arrived in Pittsburgh, Joe and I. Well, our trip across the country was our wedding trip, I guess. And that was our honeymoon, our trip across the country to arrive in Pittsburgh, arrived in Milford, Ohio, where Joe's sister and brother lived, sister and husband lived, and a cousin, a nephew, I guess it was. And anyway, the next day we arrived in Pittsburgh that morning. The first thing we had to do when I went, because I didn't have a coat, I didn't have a heavy coat, I had a jacket. But the first thing we did, we had to go into Kaufman's store and buy a coat, and then I had to have boots because it was snow, and I had to have an umbrella. All of those things had to be bought right away because I didn't have any of those things because of the warm weather in New Mexico. Now I understand the weather is colder out there or warmer there than it is now.
I see a picture of Grandma there,
Okay.
your mom.
Okay.
How old was she in that picture?
90, I think she was about 95. 95 or shortly.
It's a little younger than you are right now, huh?
Yeah, a little bit younger than I was. That might even been 94 because I'm not just sure which year it was taken.
The wedding picture, what were your ages, you and Dad?
Dad was 32 or 33, and I was 24.
Did you always call him Joe?
Joe, I called him Joe. He called me sweetheart or honey. I don't remember what he called it. Mommy. He called me mommy because I remember later on, Jiminy Christmas. Not right away, but that was after we had you four boys. That we went somewhere to some occasion. I forgot what it was, and he introduced me as mommy. Oh, was I ever embarrassed? Oh my goodness. And so I said, I'm Ernestine. I never will forget. But he used to call me Ernestine, always introduced me as Ernestine, rather than by some other name. But
Sure.
At home, he always called me Mommy, didn't he? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Okay.
referring, because that's who you were to us.
That's right.
That's
And
who
he
you
called me
were.
that too because that's the way it went. Okay, another question?
Yes, up on the board there, you mentioned your mother's face.
Yes.
What's your mother's
That's
vase?
a little tall vase. My mother was Ernest Schumann. And
A little tall vase, the one with white on top?
yeah, the white,
Okay.
yeah, the one on the pedestal.
Mhm.
And she was born in Texas and lived there most of her life. And she and Dad were, I guess, I don't know where they were married. I think they were married in Dallas, Texas, where they went after he was in the service during the First World War. And when he came back, they had known each other before that. He had been a postman somewhere along the way. And anyway, that was one of her wedding gifts. And there were several other wedding gifts, but over the years they got broken. So I think that's the only thing that I have, or really, that was hers. And up in the right-hand corner, Jim, way up there,
I see that.
little gold box up there, that is from Saratoga. And that was a keepsake of Dad's. I don't know why he kept it. He kept a lot of odd things. But that's something that was a keepsake of his, and I always leave it up there because it reminds me of Joe.
I have a ring that was in the attic chest of drawers.
Yes.
That silver Indian type ring or something.
Yes, right.
A heavy old thing.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't know where it is now.
I have it.
You have it. I know, and by the way, I have your Boy Scout ring.
Do you?
And the one that
The
you,
one that put mercury on.
yeah, mercury on, and then got your finger got all swollen and red.
Well, I don't think anybody can keep it anymore. Can't
I don't
wear
know
it.
what to do with it. I kept it in a plastic bag.
Yeah.
Just throw it away, right? But okay.
Probably.
Is there anything else around here that I want to tell you about?
The bell.
The bell, I think, think that represents, I don't think it was, I think that was a Christmas bell, but it represents a bell that I got from the Easter Star when I was chairman, worthy matron of the Easter Star.
Here, I was expecting it to be like, wow, when I was a school teacher, I had a school bell.
Well, because I had been a school teacher, but I think that's when I got it, when I was worthy matron of the Easter Star. And then looking around, I can't think of anything
This
else.
looks like Ferrywood Street.
Those things, you take some pictures. I like to do embroidery, and there are a lot of embroidered items around here, samples. And the one up there is a picture of the front of our house on Ferrywood Street.
I think I drew that half a dozen times for art classes
Yeah, really?
from different angles, you know.
Okay. And then the one down below that, the red one down below that, is just a sample of various kinds of embroidery. And then, of course, one of the embroidery piece over there.
Mhm. Yeah, I recognized it earlier.
And you have a picture, you include the picture of Joe's mother and dad?
Yes,
You have that somewhere, okay.
I do. And we have one of those.
You have one of those too.
We have one of those,
And,
yes.
and so Jim has one, and also Tim has one. Right.
The picture on the back of the door.
Uh,
It looks like a Pueblo of some sort, or not Pueblo, but
oh, yes, that was a wedding gift.
It was a wedding gift.
And it is a picture of an Indian Pueblo. And it has the red chilies hanging from the edges of the building, because that's the way the Indians and the Mexicans, the Indians all dried their chilies.
Oh my goodness, a wedding
And
gift.
that was a wedding gift. And also the other wedding gift, I have it in there on the bed. The other wedding gift is a tray that used to be over here on the buffet, the big Mexican type tray.
I'll take a
But-
picture of it later
Yeah,
so that I can
later on,
include it.
okay.
And the painting over the bed.
No, I don't know where I got those. I
That-
think
okay, but
I,
that-
probably
that-
got, I probably got them at a flea market,
Okay.
a garage sale.
So no
But
significance
I
to
bet
that.
the pictures around here, though, are all remind me of New Mexico,
Yeah.
of our travels out as we went across the country at various times.
Is the one that looks like Switzerland, is that New Mexico? Or is
No,
that-
it's New Mexico. That was there was a place close to the Ponderosa Camp Elsa Seligman, the Girl Scout camp, that was called the Big Valley. And that reminds me, I don't know whether it's a picture of it, but it reminds me, these pictures were all taken from the New Mexico or Arizona magazine. And of course, that's Bryce Canyon over there. And then the big arches, when we were traveling, we always got the pictures, saw these various things on our travels to New Mexico
Sure.
for secret grandmother. You're taking a few there.
From a different angle.
I think it's,
So the flower. Flowers.
oh yes. And
Yes.
it's a Hoya plant or a wax plant.
I remember the flowers are little five-pointed stars.
Yeah, right. Beautiful little stars.
And a very fragrant odor to them.
Right.
Fragrance.
And of course, there are some other pictures there of ivy, and most of those things are plants that I started so I could put them in the hall, in the tunnel down there. But I haven't gotten around to doing it. Nobody wants them. I found that these are too sweet. They have a very sweet flavor to them. Well, all those little blossoms were about little clutches, little bunches like that, and each flower, maybe 15 or 20 flowers, was on a little stem and five-pointed, with a little five-pointed center on it too. And it's a Hoya or wax plant, Hoya plant. And it's to remember Auntie, and she gave it, well, Auntie died in 1966,
And these are Christmas cactus?
and those are Christmas cactus, yes.
Yeah, I wish I could take a Christmas cactus home.
I wish you could too.
I might talk Ken into sometime.
Coming out to see you.
Instead of getting rid of them when you make your move, to hold on to them and somehow, keep them water, and we'll get them. We'll get them.
Keep them going.
Actually, Kaylee's going to drive home for Christmas.
Pardon?
Kaylee's going to drive home for Christmas. Maybe she can bring some plants with her.
Maybe so, that would be nice. That would be nice, yes, if she could do that. Of course, get it together with,
Yeah,
Kaylee.
Ken would have to drive to visit
get
her.
across.
All right, inside the chest there is. Did we ever use that K-Rose syrup?
Yes, we did. Yes, no, my family did.
Your family?
My family did. And I found that at a flea market, reminded me of it. And of course, the other is the picture from Egypt when Dad and I visited Israel and Egypt. And that was the picture was to go to Mary Kelly, but I never got it to her. You had to get packed. And I've got to get rid of all my books.
Oh, yes.
But anyway, that's one thing. They can go over to the library. I can put them in a junk sale somewhere. But I won't take that when I move. I won't take that with me.
Books are so hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
You know, even go to Goodwill and they've got tons and tons of books.
Tons, right, anywhere. Because if it's something that you want, well, that's different.
Yeah.
And those, that thing that you have the camera on right now, that holds the canisters to hold the flour and sugar, I think those were given to me by Susan, Bob's wife. And I've enjoyed using them very much.
Yeah.
And I can't look around thinking, I spend a lot of time making Afghans, and I guess as an Afghan, I should put something there. I spent an awful lot of time, and I think I probably gave Kaylee one.
Yes, Kaylee has an Afghan.
Kaylee and Allie too, and I gave one to each of Tim's kids. And who was here the other day? Oh, Cassie. I had not given Cassie one. She said, Grandma, could I have one too? So I got one. And then, of course, Katie her cats had gotten into hers and torn her, and I had to take it apart and put it back together again.
Oh.
That was a funny experience to get put together after the cat had ripped it some.
So you're in your bed right now.
Yes. Yes. In fact, this is where I sleep.
Will you miss this room when you move away from it? Are these rooms?
Sure I will.
Yeah.
Right, sure.
Some good memories here.
A lot of good memories after all, but 11 years of good memories. So, and I bought this table so I could bring the leaf out, so I could put the photo books for all of you boys, and I got them done. I got all your photos
Yes.
taken and put together, and I've got a bunch of pictures still left, but anyway.